buddy?
I think we're good. I'm literally going to do a quick Google of how to... We're good.
We're good. We're
We
good.
can start.
All right. Well, welcome in, chat of all areas and ages and locations and platforms, because we are on a lot of platforms right now. But hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of the Proxy Podcast. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Today's a saucy one. Today is a saucy one. We got a lot to talk about. And, you know, unlike how we've been bringing in other guests who do have expertises around gacha games, this podcast, I think, is just going to be 100% Zenless Zone Zero, because we just have so much to talk about. But
There is a lot.
I'm so excited.
I digress. Really quickly, let's introduce the host. Let's start with my boy Az.
Oh, what's up? My name is Azrael Vanity. I cover Zenless lore. I stream on both Twitch and YouTube now, which is pretty awesome. This is my 3rd stream today. Crazy. Yep. I did the thing earlier and the other thing earlier, and then now this. So awesome. And then yeah, that's it. That's me. I do Zenless.
Age.
Hello, I am Age KK, AGEKK. I play lots of gacha games. I play lots of Zenless, Honkai Star Rail, Wuthering Waves, Reverse. I tend to focus on story. I love reacting to story and things like that, and I am one of your resident gooners over here today, so.
Yep, no rebuttal, yeah.
the resident gooner.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't have me beat.
But not the only lighter fan in this call. We need to welcome in our very special guest today. One of our great friends over on the pond next over. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yo, what's up? I've been waiting for months. You guys don't understand. I've done so many collabs with so many ZZ creators, but I've always been the host. And my intro to every single one of my videos is, welcome to my channel. My name is Kete the 7th, and I'll be your host today. And I finally get to say, thanks for having me, guys. I'm so glad to be here. My name is Kete the 7th, and I'll be your guest today.
There you go.
Cinema.
Glad to have you here.
I've been waiting so long.
We landed
Finally.
that one.
You stole me for your podcast, and now it's only fair that we stole one of you guys for this one.
Yep. Yeah, it was good to have you too on the losing the 50.
Yes, yeah, it was really fun.
I'm Kete the 7th, and I make a lot of Zenless content. As you can see, there's a sniff boo on my head. He follows me everywhere. He's extremely versatile. People ask, why is he there? Because whenever I need, like, something crazy happens on stream, whether it's an account review or we're reviewing, looking at something else, I can take him and I can move him. He's like a pointer finger. Like I can literally put him right on top of what I need him to be on. Yeah. He's very versatile.
Directs all the attention.
Like a North Star. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be your Hokage boo today.
Yeah, but you sell yourself short. You do a bunch of amazing Zenless Zone Zero content, just general coverage, a lot of combats and meta-based stuff. You helped so many folks out with your account review series as well.
Yeah.
Glad to have you today. Kete.
Wait, final host, introduce yourself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Final host.
Oh, hi. I totally forgot. I'm here too, guys. My name is Josh, the host with the most. That's I try to. Yeah, I do a bunch of varieties on the Zone Zero content myself. I don't go too hard in the story. I don't go too hard into the combat. I don't go too hard into lore. I'm a jack of all trades type of guy.
Yeah, I was yooning too hard over Hugo and Vivian, so.
Vivian was so cute, dude.
She was
Yes.
so pretty.
The little like when we looked at her on the staircase and she got all flustered.
Yeah.
Dude, what a cutie patootie. I can't believe it.
But I think that's a great place to start, because 1.7 introduces to us officially the Mockingbird cast. That is Vivian and Hugo Vlad. What, folks, what do we think about, you know, where we kind of left off Hugo and Vivian and you know, what this news story, what the new trailer kind of gave us in terms of insight for this new update? Any thoughts?
I got no clue.
I also have no clue. It's like so ambiguous.
I'm gonna be real. I just want to know why Hugo at the end of the stream was aura farming.
Actually,
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
That's what I wanna know.
Farm. That is crazy. I knew he was going to be the special guest. I think it is interesting that they're not even trying to hide the fact that he's not dead. Like they didn't even care to do it at all, which I think was funny. I know when they initially said that there was going to be a special guest, people thought it was going to be Yixuan. Which, funny enough, she is not even in the trailer at all.
Yeah.
She's only shown in the dev stream for a little bit of like the little introduction, but not in the patch trailer at all, which I was kind of surprised by.
If I may actually interject, she actually did appear.
I mean, she did have those wings in the dev stream that they showed when you see her for the first time.
Yeah.
Was it like the same effect? I don't remember which specific moment you guys are talking about, but
yes, it's the same like inky effect, and it has the same like golden like ichor kind of like flowing through it. But yeah,
the story, it's like really have no idea what's going on, because usually I can kind of tell a little bit like where the story's going, but then the most that we got was just them aura farming for the most part in the trailer, and then they showed a little bit of Lycon saving Hugo in like a shipping container on like the chair, and then something about Hugo dealing with his past was the impression I got. But apart from that, it's kind of ambiguous exactly where they're going to take the story.
I do want to say, one person in chat, Sketch, says that she is using a ferro fluid on her back, and that they said they're using ether to magnetize it. I don't know if that's true or not, because the devs did directly say that her powers are not ether manipulation. It's like they directly stated that it is not ether manipulation. It is mystic arts. So unless that's separate from what her mystic arts is, I don't know.
So then does that mean that there's going to be like a new type of power that they might introduce to the game in 2.x?
They're going to have to. It's going to have to be a new power. But that's going to be more in the 2.0 side. I don't think we're going to... Well, obviously, we'll probably see her Mystic Arts in 1.7, but I don't think they'll like fully go into what it is until 2.0.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be very confused on what we're looking at.
Yeah. Just to kind of follow up on that, like, very much I think how 1.4 had the interlude with Asriel, I think so too. I think 1.7 will kind of help us bridge a little bit, because you know, to kind of go from where we are in this like 2-part saga over to now this new hollow, and you know, as I'd love for you to like, you know, kind of break that part of the lore down a little bit, just because we haven't had the opportunity to talk about Lemnian Hollow, but you know, I get ahead of myself. I think an interlude really is needed to help the general player base, I think, kind of slowly transition to all this newer information, because it's gonna be a lot. Yeah.
That's why I was while we didn't get a lot of new, or like really anything new from the Xbox showcase, it was legitimately a very good introduction for people that would be joining right now, before season 2 drops. They did a great recap of what the core of the game is, and what, you know, some of the base level lore is. And yeah, I thought it was a good little introduction.
My chat tried to
oh my god.
My chat tried to gaslight me to stay up another 4 hours to watch that shit.
I will say they did show a new song, and it was banger. It was a banger new song. And
the rap,
yeah. And there's
it's really good.
There is, I don't know if it's gonna be an actual character or not. To my chat, we were like, it looked like NSFW like grace art that they had hanging in the back, and we were like, what is that? what is that? And then someone in my chat found it immediately, frame one on Twitter, because there was like literally one frame or something in the video where they show it.
How did you guys find this?
That's what I'm saying.
Yo, eyes of a hawk out here.
This is what she looks like here.
Oh, whoa.
That's crazy.
Which again, it could literally just be another poster. Like, in fact, odds are I would say she probably isn't playable. But it's still a very cool design. Like, she's got a little like bang boo on her left leg. Zoom, please. Okay, hold on.
Zoom. There,
anyway, not this. I didn't mean to derail. Keep asking questions about 1.7. We can answer.
No, I mean, like, we're kind of already in the sauce of the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the new redhead. We talked a little bit about Yishun. Anything about you that kind of popped up, Age?
Yeah, there was like the character, and then mostly just I was just excited about Hugo. I'll be so honest. I was just having a good time. I think the visual updates that they said they were gonna do for the model looked really, really good. They kind of made the colors look better. They changed the proportions of his face a bit. I couldn't see too much about the textures on his actual like character, like his clothing itself, but overall it looked really good. And then his attack animations also with the scythe looked so sick.
Yes. I
Hugo
will
is
agree
sick.
to that part.
Yes, Hugo is sick. But I don't think I can pull him.
No,
oh, dude, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough because chat is gonna destroy me every day to pull him until I do. Oh man.
I mean, we just had the conversation last night about you not pulling GN for some future characters, so
yeah. Hush. Yeah.
Okay, I also don't have Yuan.
Yeah, good old cakey one.
Yeah, no, but I think that's more of a conversation for the 2.x trailer, which, again, I'm getting ahead of the horse. Let's stick to 1.7.
I know.
Yeah. But really quick, because there was a little bit more shown about Yishun, I don't know if you guys have any more information on this. I was kind of stipulating that there was the frame in which, like, there were multiple layers to this one. When you see Yishun descending right on those steps, very much to how Hersher of the Void kind of walks in the frame. It's like bar for bar.
Yep, exactly.
But you slow down, and it's not like a regular platform or anything that she steps on. If you like zoom in, it's like there's sigils on this like talisman-esque step that she uses, and that definitely is related to her mystical martial arts.
Mystic arts,
right? I'm very curious, and like mystic arts has to be a deviation of some elements. Do we think, or is this like some genuine new concept?
New. I genuinely think it's new. I don't, because the reason why I say that is because they made it explicitly clear, like they made a direct comment that it's not ether manipulation, which makes me think they want it to kind of be a separate thing. But obviously it's gonna have to tie in to either current lore or lore that they're gonna showcase like in 2.0.
Okay.
But I have no idea what like that actually entails, because according to the C inside, the mystic arts is pretty broad for them as well. It could mean a lot of different things. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how they take mystic arts for her.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, I mean, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh God, I might be exposing myself here. But you know what? Is it bad, Josh? I did not realize that at all because I was way too fascinated in other aspects of her her design.
Her
Yeah.
personality,
Yeah.
right?
Massive-
her
massive
great
I was also very
personality.
surprised about certain.
There was dude, I didn't even realize that. I have to go back and watch that now. Straight up did not see that. If you asked me what color the background was, I would fucking fail.
The calcium cannons were kind of crazy. I will not lie. I was also really surprised. That's the first thing I also mentioned too. I think when she showed up, like with the close up, I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
There's something
I
really
was
big
pretty
on the
baffled.
screen.
I was pretty, it's funny. I actually didn't notice until the Xbox showcase.
Yeah.
Because the Xbox showcase one had a more like direct shot of it.
Ah.
And it's actually really funny too because I was looking at it looked like there's a big circle in the background and I was like, yo, what's that big circle? As I'm like getting close to the screen, and they thought I was talking about her cannons.
Her W
But,
engines, you know, her two
yeah,
W
her W
engines,
yes,
yeah.
her two W engines. Also, my chat wanted me to clarify the information that they said that it's not ether manipulation is from the CN dev talk.
Yeah. Good
Not from the
clarification.
1.7 dev stream. So
Yeah.
just if you're wondering where that info came from, that's where it's from.
She's gonna be released 2.0.
Mm.
I don't know. If she is in fact not a void hunter, which it seems like it's going that route, then
Yeah.
probably.
But the thing is, I actually have like a theory. This is a super just theory of my own.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the fact that they mentioned that she's on the level of a void hunter, but she's not a void hunter itself. And then we've had discussions before about what actually like entails a void hunter, right? And you know how before we discussed how cool it would be if maybe throughout the journey of the story we can actually see someone become a void hunter. So then I actually was thinking that even if she's not like a void hunter right now, I feel like with how they're kind of building her up for the 2.0 story, there's a possibility that something might happen in 2.0 or 2.x, one of the updates, which is like a really big ground-changing event in which she has to kind of step up to the plate and really like, do her thing. And then she's actually able to earn the titles. And then we can kind of see the actual process of like what the Void Hunters are, who they are, and then maybe also get to learn more about them as, individuals
Mhm.
too. So yeah, I don't know if she'll be
yes.
like 2.0 though. I really
If
feel
they
like
go that route, it would be really sick. Because we talked
Yeah.
about that on the Losing the 50 podcast too.
Yeah, we did.
That it would be really sick to witness somebody do that. And to be fair, they did say in the CN Dev Talk, I keep referring back to it, but that we will learn her story throughout 2.0. So they could build up to her and then have her release like after the fact if she does become a Void Hunter and then have her like be one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be if she's not 2.0, then they're gonna have to showcase someone else from her faction that's not just
her.
Zhufufu.
Okay, but speaking of that though, right? Saying someone could become a void hunter, we could like see them like in real time become one. That's interesting to me. Does this open the ability to in the future for them to maybe introduce characters that aren't void hunters but are stronger than void hunters? Because they said that she's on the level of one and she's not one. Could they introduce characters in the future that are not void hunters but they're stronger than void hunters? Could they do that?
I mean, I don't see why not. There's technically nothing stopping them. The only thing that really makes someone a void hunter is if the mayor gives them a badge.
Okay, that
if they
was
did
my
something-
follow-up question because I was like, isn't the Void Hunter legit just a title? It's not like a level of
yeah.
like,
It's not a level of
Yeah.
power. It is quite literally just like a medal of honor, really. You earn it by doing something like a massive contribution to the city, whether that be by physical means or other means. Then you can earn a Void Hunter title that way, which is it's given by the mayor.
Because I think with how like mysterious the Hollows are as well, there's probably lots of different like factions and entities and just groups of people or different species that exist out there that we are just currently like not interacting with, right? So as we explore the world, we could definitely see whether it's like people who have mutations maybe from the Hollows or the Ether, or and stuff. Sorry, I'm just spitballing. But yeah, there's definitely just like a very, very like broad spectrum of cast that I think they could introduce, as long as they, as they broaden the scope of the story itself. Since the scope of the story is still pretty small, I would say, for the most part. We're still mostly focused in New Eridu itself. But then we have, all of these, the AIs haven't really even been touched on, and they have been set up to be like the really, really big thing. So it's like, if we're really talking about these big AIs or like ground changing power forces, then who's to say that they're all in New Eridu, right? They might be spread out across the world.
See, I really like that. The reason I brought that up to begin with is because when I think about anime, and even in real life, there was a professional basketball player that said years ago that there were players back in the day that were better than even the greatest of all time, but they didn't want to pursue basketball. There's always someone better than you, right? And in the anime, like there's so many animes you can name where you'll meet this side character at the beginning of season 1 or season 2, and they don't really do much. And then come season 4, season 5, season 6, they just get into a fight, and you're like, oh shit, they're about to get destroyed. But then no, they're the one doing the kick ass, right? Like, and it's like, oh, so they were this strong this entire time, but we just didn't know, right? And so I like that they could potentially make characters in the future that don't feel like they're that threatening or don't feel like they're that powerful, and then when we need them the most, they really show their stuff. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that without surpassing the Void Hunter way, though. Like making them stronger than a Void Hunter. I do feel like they kind of want to keep the Void Hunter title as like the peak for now, because they have a special like icon in game. They are technically our equivalent of like Hershers and Archons and whatever. So I doubt that they would want to really have a character that is stronger than a Void Hunter and then not really be classified as a Void Hunter, because it would kind of like mess up the hierarchy. But I can see that happening with it kind of happen with the Anby, but like it with Billy too. Like obviously he's the one that's like, oh, he's silly, haha. But then he'll lock the hell in at some point, and then we'll have S-rank Billy.
And then hey, we might even get S-rank Nicole, because she's definitely going to lock in later too.
Forget the maybe part. Leave the maybe part out.
Yeah,
we will. We will get S-rank Nicole in the future.
Yeah.
S-rank Nakamata too, right? I mean,
yeah, double S-rank Nakamata.
Double S-rank.
She'll get a job change, a path change.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I mean, that kind of leads us into another conversation in itself. What do we expect out of the new characters and the new factions to be introduced in 2.x? And I think we should start with some of the new ones that have been introduced. I guess we'll kind of go in order. Yunkui Summit. I mean, we have 2 confirmed, one as a poster art, perspectively maybe. And I did my own little like thought experiment on a YouTube video of just like how you could break down the entirety of the year. And just by using math, we, two updates per patch, 8 patches at a 2.0 to 2.7. That's 16 potential characters. We know of a handful, I'd say like around like 4 to 5 factions that are going to be showing up. So we can expect like maybe like 3 to 4, I think, in Yunkui Summit. I'm thinking like 3 to 4, maybe even like a 5th if it's like an A tier. We have any thoughts on like prospective other characters that you would be excited for to like round out the cast?
Age, you go first.
Well, we kind of touched on this last time, but someone brought up the idea of how cool it would be to maybe have characters that follow the different types of martial arts forms, I think was what it was exactly. I'm not too familiar, because it's like right now we have bird, we have tiger. So if the faction does end up having a lot of characters, which I do also think it will, because it kind of feels like we are kind of long overdue for a brand new faction that has like a larger cast. Because the most recent new factions we've gotten have just been like the, 2 off, which have been amazing. But obviously, if we're going into a new update, a new season, they're definitely going to want to expand the cast as a whole. So yeah, I think it'd be really cool if we could go into these different branches of martial arts, since clearly they are kind of based off of these more like hand-to-hand combat styles of fighting rather than fully weapon type fighting. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on that. Obviously, we don't have too much information, but it would be really, really cool to see more of that variety and also the potential that they could have, especially with the new mystic arts, right? Even if the mystic arts are, a pretty like rare thing to master, I think it would be interesting if maybe some of the new characters utilized aspects of the mystic arts, or once we learn more about the mystic arts, if there's like off branches of different ways that they utilize the power in the same way that maybe some of our current characters might utilize the ether by harnessing it through like weapons or whatnot and stuff like that. I think it'd be really, really interesting. And again, it's hard to kind of tell right now since we don't have too much, but that's something I would like to see. I like it when games kind of will build their characters off of things that already exist in the real world. Kind of like how Victoria Housekeeping was based off of the horror theme, like the horror tropes, right? They had all the characters representing a different kind of like horror monster that we see in our media. So if they were to continue down the path of martial arts and the whole, Chinese martial arts culture, which clearly the new region is also fully based off of China, right? And all of the aesthetics and architecture. So I think that would be really, really interesting to see in the Zenless Zone Zero world, especially because it is very not techie, but it definitely has a kind of style to it, and aesthetic to the Zenless world. So for them to incorporate some of that there, I think it could have the potential to bring up some really, really cool concepts and ideas. And
I mean, before Age as answers, because I know you have your point. I mean, we already kind of see that low-key with Qing Yi, right? A nice blend of the martial arts. She has the I don't know what her weapon is called. It's not nunchucks, but it's like the 3-pronged stick. They just call it a stick?
I call it a stick.
It's a 3-section staff.
Right. That's 3-section staff. Yeah. And then it also being like a taser too, like that nice, cool blend of technology and, older tradition, like kind of like is kind of the bread and butter of Zenless Zone Zero for sure. I forgot where you are now. I mean, yeah.
quite literally, I have the exact same point as you. I do think that the idea that Chat had mentioned before, where like you said, we have the bird, we have the tiger, other stuff would be super sick. Especially if they continue to play into them kind of being Thyrans of that thing, because Yufufu is a tiger. She's the tiger. It obviously. Yixuan is bird-esque. I don't really think she's a Thyran, but she's still got features. So yeah, it would be really sick to see the rest of them. But I do agree. I would like to see more hand-to-hand combat, specifically with them, just because they are an actual martial arts faction. So hopefully, if they do use the mystic arts, they don't go too far into it. I don't want them to I don't know. I don't want everyone in the faction to be like casting spells and shit. I think it would be so nice to get a little bit of the hand-to-hand combat, because mostly everyone has a weapon. So
yeah, like I started with regards to the whole I hope everyone in the faction kind of use it. It was more so like in sort of maybe if they could harness the mystic arts in like some extra tools and stuff, right? So not necessarily everyone's like casting the mystic arts in the same sense as I sorry, I keep forgetting her name, but the leader does, because she clearly can like cast it, right? She has the ability to harness it, from what I'm assuming. But then if she could, because everyone in the faction is obviously under her as well, if they could even take inspiration from maybe the mystic arts style, even if they can't necessarily use the mystic arts themselves, and then seeing that affect their combat style itself, and ways that they could kind of incorporate the two of those, I think that would be really sick.
Cooked.
Yeah.
You cooked.
Double on that. I mean, you take a look at, more modern medias, you take a look at Doctor Strange. They infuse weapons with magic with their mystical arts weapons, and then you look at Jujutsu Kaisen. they have the cloud whatever one, and then the sword, the eye, and then so like I could definitely see that 100%. But
Also, imagine Panda Thyron that cooks noodles.
yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, we need a
Yeah,
Panda
I've been
Thyron.
seeing Snake Thyron in my chat. too.
Snake Thyron.
would be
I need Master Oogway. And Master
Literally, they
Oogway.
have to have a turtle.
Yeah, we need a turtle, please. That's my dream. That's my dream.
I
Just need a
do
little
hope we
turtle
get
guy.
more like actual Thyrans.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm not. I know there's a lot of there's some people who
Kind
don't
of
like
Thyrans.
the furry aspect, but like it makes the character design so unique.
Yeah.
Like I do legitimately would love for them to keep doing that so that the rest of the cast is just like incredibly unique. Because I mean now you have people complaining that Yishuin looks too. It's the fourth Anbi. It's the third Anbi. There's too many Anbis in the game. So I mean that would help.
I quite literally had someone after they saw Yishuan's design from the dev talk. Someone wrote, I shit you not, I counted an 8-paragraph comment on how much they hated Yishuan's design.
Dang.
And I was
There is a
my.
lot of hate for her design that I've seen.
I was
I'm
like,
not gonna lie,
brother, oh my god.
yeah, it's great. They're passionate about hating it. I think I've
paragraphs,
seen
bro.
more hate than I've seen love for that design.
Because I was saying, I don't like hate it necessarily, but also because it is very similar to some of the designs we've seen already, the fact that it doesn't feel as unique definitely adds to my lack of, I guess, desire to really like it, if that makes sense. Because usually the designs that appeal to me the most are the ones where I'm like, oh my god, that looks so cool. That looks like this new character looks amazing because they're so unique from the rest of the cast. So then when, people as a whole, are seeing design that looks kind of like Anbi, and we've already had like a huge Anbi patch, of course. And then like her color scheme's the exact same too. I know people had some theories how maybe the Anbi clones were actually based off of Yishuan. Because there had to be some sort of origin for why the Anbi clones, appear the way that they do. So if they decide to go down that track, I think it would be a nice way to explain away why she does look so similar. Because I do agree with Az, and I promise, I'm not a furry, okay? But I just think that it really is cool when if we were able to see more like full Thyrans, because it's like we have a lot of characters who are kind of like part Thyran. They have like this kind of like Nekomimi type of aspect to them, whether it's just like ears or a tail and things like that. And they're cute and they're nice, and we kind of see them a lot in a lot of these anime types of media and in character designs. So I think if they were to kind of dwell more on the Thyran aspect of the world too, it could also be very interesting, because the entire idea of Thyrans, they are like a different race from the humans. And then whenever it would be interesting to see some, maybe like if there's any conflicts between stuff like that, how did this world kind of come about? There's so many different races, where did they all come from? How did we turn into this society that has so much variety and multiculturalism in it, I guess?
Gacha loves white-haired waifus. I mean, white hair is just trauma, right? So like, it's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love the white-haired characters, but yeah. So I'm just gonna ask, what ideas do you have for where the story's going? Or I guess if we want to do something more specific, what happened to Hugo?
For me, seeing some of the frames of, I think one particular frame really stood out to me was the frame where like he's like hunched over and then his eyes start like flaring out. I think he does receive the blessing of a Hujimo, what's his name?
the guy,
the creator.
The creator. There we go. Yeah, I think he does find a way to receive it, and then he's kind of hunkered and taking respite in this cargo crate thing, and then Hugo finds him, but he's already been yassified by ether.
Yeah, so- oh, is that why he got a visual update? Because the creator, the creator,
That's it, yeah, the
Refined
creator
him.
refined him.
Nah,
yeah.
Hey, nah, bro. He obviously survived because he's an immortal vampire. Obviously, yeah, obviously.
Right,
Of course,
exactly.
of course.
Uh,
I need to see him suck some blood, okay?
Hmm?
Amongst other things, but
Bro,
blood specifically.
I'm not convinced that wine he drunk was actually wine.
Yeah,
Not
it was
convinced.
the way they described it was interesting for sure.
I'm not convinced.
They put a lot of emphasis on it,
yeah.
and it was a bit odd.
I don't know. I don't really. Obviously, he's going through some sort of like mental challenge.
Crisis?
Like he's going through an entire like obstacle course that I'm assuming it's the Exaltists that are putting him through it. Because I don't really know who else would have got his body out of the hollow when he landed, and then tied him up to a chair and is doing like whatever, unless it's that redhead character, which if it is, because during the little like mental showings, that's when she showed up. So whoever that redhead character is, if she's not with the Exaltists, then hopefully they'll explain like who she's with and what she's really doing, like why she would really be doing this to Hugo.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're trying to give Hugo the solve your inner conflicts literally internally. So he's like stuck in his mind because a lot of the voice lines that were playing during that was kind of just dogging on him and like his mentality.
Yeah.
But it's not just mental, because clearly he was physically suffering. Like you can literally see the marks on the ground where he's like kicking his feet to like get away or something. But yeah, it's gonna be super interesting to see exactly where he landed and how he did live.
Yeah.
If it's not him being refined by the creator.
I also think that from my impression, again, I was kind of losing my mind a bit during it, but the impression I got from the trailer itself, which is why I was like also kind of confused about where the storyline was going to take us past the previous one, is it really seemed to me like Hugo and his kind of, struggles that he was going through also are kind of like heavily related to, the Ravenlock family and his past. So I do feel like there might also be like that red-haired girl. We still don't know who she is, right? But I feel like maybe she could also be someone from his past who is coming back and then trying to like bringing up all these bad things and issues and memories that are definitely affecting him after also having gotten stabbed and like, yeeted into the hollow as well. And maybe like there would be some motivation on that front for them to use Hugo mayhaps for some other purpose, because he is still part of the family, even if, even though he went through all of that stuff and is kind of trying to destroy it. But they definitely could be trying to use him because he is powerful at the end of the day. He has powers. He is very strong. And I think he definitely still has use for the people remaining in the family who might want to like utilize him as a tool one last time, especially after he has proven that he does care and is trying to kind of like mess up their shit. So
yeah, I do want to also talk about, because someone said sister in chat. I don't really know if it's his sister, because again, if it is like mental challenges, then his sister could show up. But he did say, obviously he had a pretty big family, so it could have been a different sister. But if you're thinking of like the one that he literally told us about and the one that he was close to, he did say that she looked like Vivian, and that character did not look like Vivian at all. So I wouldn't say that is that. What she could be connected to Vivian though, because Vivian's is said that she has a past with the Exaltists. And in the trailer, she talks about how she'll go into her past and some of the people she knew with the proxy, like during this update. So it could be someone from Vivian's past that is like doing something to Hugo. But that's like really the only idea that I have of who the redhead chick could be.
So mysterious.
But to do a little break from the. Are we good on that topic?
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah,
because I guess for the topic of about Hugo, I think I'm going to move on to it from it a little bit. Vivian,
Mhm.
there are some scenes, and I don't know if you guys have any opinions on this portion. I think hopefully this is where Az was going a little bit next towards, but there are some scenes or potentially even visions, just like huge flashes of us with Vivian herself. And there was this one scene where we find her injecting herself with a vial. You know, performance enhancing drugs are never the answer, but you know, what are our thoughts on that?
Yeah, does anyone else want to go first before?
Is it, bro?
I
Okay,
completely
is it
missed
just
that. I'll be so honest. So
is it just me, or does Vivian not come off as innocent as she might be? Like when she's
In
with
what
the
way?
proxy, right? Like when she's with the proxy, right? And she's like doing she activates her simp mode. I always get like, just, I don't know. Is it just me, or I'm just always like, okay, yeah, you're hiding something. you're hiding something.
I mean, she's definitely hiding a truth of like her past in terms of how she's connected to the Exaltists.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I don't think it's malicious. She is definitely like still hiding some information. I just don't think it's like gonna counteract any of our plans or what we're like going for.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's so much that we also don't know about her in relation to us. And like, you know, she did mention like, oh, you know, I won't tell about my origins and like my relationship with the proxy, and like, you know, we know a little bit about like, oh yeah, I can fangirl online about proxy and, you know, about the proxy and stuff, but like there's some underlying reason about that, you know, about her not fantasies. What's the word I'm looking for? About her fanaticism.
Visions.
No, more just fanaticism about us. And then, well, that kind of also,
Obsession?
obsession. There you go. Yeah, obsession. And then that also, again, yeah, ties to her visions, because maybe they might not just be of, you know, tragedy. You know, obviously there were some pretty graphic scenes, quote unquote, that were kind of flashed on the screen there. And if we were to assume those were the visions. But I'm curious on what do you guys think about what we can see her develop, I guess, throughout this second part of the story?
Like how her character will develop?
I mean, both her powers, how we see it manifest, etc.
I think it's going to be interesting how Hugo was kind of the one who died in 1.6, and I think they're trying to now bait it and be Vivian is now going to be the one to like sacrifice herself in 1.7. So I wouldn't be surprised if because again, I don't think her like front of being obsessed with the proxies is fake in any way. She did say that the reason she's obsessed is because we saved her life in the past. She didn't explain. We don't know what mission we saved her on, but she did say that we did save her, and that's why she's so obsessed. But yeah, to link it in to the injecting herself thing, I think it is literally just she's so obsessed, and that obsession to protect us also links into like taking down the sacrifices. And so she's going to use it as a double opportunity to like do something with whatever the hell she injected herself with. But I also, like you mentioned it, the scene in which she injects herself is a montage of events. They didn't actually show it. They showed it as a memory, which is interesting because I don't know if this is the way they're going to go, but someone in my chat mentioned it. And then now every time I look at it, it seems like that's what's happening, but it could just be a red herring. When Belle walks up and looks down in the area in which Vivian blocked the shot from the sacrifice and was protecting Wise, that is the area in which she injects herself, and the zoom out shot of where it looks like she's in energy blasted from her and whatever. She could be dying. Belle has the little symbol glow in her eye. And then it goes through a montage of all of the memories of Vivian, and then cuts to Vivian opening her eyes. So someone in my chat said, what if we're now actually going to go into the time shenanigans and we somehow reverse time? Which I know sounds crazy, but at the beginning, the very opening cutscene of season 1, do you remember what it said when the hollow expanded when we first got Fairy?
I don't remember the words. I remember the
still
scene.
have
It's been
no
too long.
idea
Like Goldfish
where
memory.
where that could have like been. There's little things that make it not the same symbol, and I think it's more of like trying to resemble a black hole or like the hollow or the way that Hollow Zero like has the little like space bend at the corners. Because if it is that, it's kind of similar enough to link back to the first vision with the rewind thing. And that could link into whatever power our eyes are. It is a very crackpot theory. But it's interesting nonetheless. So
No, 100%.
there's what I think would be cool if they go into.
Yeah, I also agree that I don't think she is necessarily pretending to be fans of us as Phaethon. However, she does kind of have a like innocent kind of persona with regards to us, because she is, kind of presenting herself as like, oh my god, I'm just like a huge fan. I just want to protect you, right?
Yeah.
I don't think she's doing it maliciously because she's trying to trick us or anything, but because of my like perception that I think she just happened to get lucky with encountering us. So then now she's been doing this thing. She's been doing this thing that's very serious. She's clearly very competent and is kind of willing to get her hands dirty, I would think, to accomplish her goals. But then now that she's also encountered us as Phaethon, she's also trying to like kind of put on a face to us that like, listen, like I just really like you. I'm just really trying to protect you. And then maybe that's kind of why, like, with my perception of Vivian, it's like I also don't think she's necessarily innocent. But then, because I do think she's gonna be pretty ruthless in the end, especially with how she has been kind of witnessing these really horrible things her entire life. Like someone, obviously, people can still remain kind of like good people and very wholesome and stuff, but at the same time, she's definitely very jaded, and I think she's going to get her hands dirty for sure in the 1.7 story. Whether that's to protect us or to like accomplish her goal and her plan, and we just happen to be there, I don't know. But I'm really looking forward to seeing like that different side of Vivian as well, and not just the front that she kind of portrays to us as Phaethon. So
yeah, I agree. No, you cooked very good. And I think we will see a lot of that. Like a lot of.
I want to say, Age, you are so much better at like saying my own thoughts than I am. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so fucking bad with words sometimes, like, because I knew like when I said that, I was like, I probably just looked like a fucking idiot, and then you explained it perfectly. Thank you. Yeah.
Also, you did not look like an idiot. I can totally understand why you'd get that vibe from her.
Because that you mentioning that is what got me kind of thinking about it. I was like, wait, yeah, actually, like now that I think about it, I also don't like necessarily see Vivian as a like particularly innocent character. Maybe not in the sense that like I think she's trying to manipulate us, right? But I do think that she has like that dark side to her that she is trying to keep on the down low because she's trying to fulfill her objectives apart from us in the story. So
I have a quick question.
No questions.
Azrael, so I started thinking about it. You were talking about that symbol that's like similar to the Void Hunter.
Yeah.
And I was like, where have I seen that before? Isn't that the, because I'm looking at it now, isn't that the same symbol on Wise's shirt?
Yeah, I had that brought up. It's not really. I don't really want to connect it because I see it like the one on his shirt looks more like the Void Hunter thing than it does like what we had on the eye, because it does actually have the split on both ends as opposed to the one that's in the eye where it's connected on top. And also whenever we see the full graphic of his shirt, it's not just that. Like that is the center, but it's more of like a weird like logo thing. If it was just that centerpiece, then I could see more of a connection. But I think it would be weird if bro's just been wearing the shirt the whole time that had like actual lore significance. When Belle's shirt, doesn't Belle's shirt translate to like I'm cute or like I'm cool or something?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's very Belle though, you know.
That's very
it's something. Yeah, I don't remember. I saw a whole Reddit like explanation of what her shirt thing was. But yeah, I've seen, literally my chat brought that up to me. I have not been able to go into it yet. But yes, I definitely can see how it looks similar. It's just that top part not connecting that's throwing me off.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
I do think that if it was supposed to be like, oh, sorry.
No, go. Yeah.
Oh, just like super quick thing. I just do think that if it was supposed to be like specifically related, like that is a detail that they would have put in, right? Like if they wanted it to be like a super direct connection to the Void Hunters or a symbol that we've already seen, they wouldn't like change it slightly. They would just put it in verbatim. So
that's why I think it's not the Void Hunter symbol, even though it looks so similar to it. Because there's just it's the small things, and I have no idea. I have no idea what they're gonna like do with it, but it'll be interesting. But to switch the topic to a little bit more on the meta side, that way it's not just lore. That way you can get your whole thing in. How are Vivian and Hugo looking as units?
Okay, so Vivian is looking to be an incredible unit. If you are an Anomaly fan, you're gonna probably want to pick her up, unless you just don't have the pools and you really want to save for 2.0. If you're an Anomaly fan, like you can't go wrong picking up Vivian. You just can't. She works with every single Anomaly in the game. Like you could put her with any Anomaly and she's gonna pop off. So yeah, she's kind of like Bernice, but ether.
Okay, I was gonna ask, what does she like really do? I was just too distracted by how beautiful her animations were. So she has like, is it like what dot damage based off the anomaly that you do?
She has blooms, and blooms can be triggered by other characters in your party doing EX specials. That's why her designated drive set is activated by someone else on her party doing an EX special. So like it completely fits in line with her kit. And she's able to do extra instances of anomaly damage when those blooms are procced, and also do more ether anomaly application. Yeah, she think of Bernice, but instead of, you know how Bernice, you just gotta hit the target with basic attacks, the EX, like you just hit the target and you'll burn her gauge. Vivian wants you to use EX specials. Vivian's also very quick swappy. Like you don't keep her off the field forever, but you're not going to keep her on the field for a long time either. She's very quick swap based, which is why she's going to work very well with Miyabi and Yanagi specifically. But she's still going to work very well with any anomaly in general. But she's going to be incredible with Miyabi and Yanagi. So if you have one of those characters, she allows you to free up a slot too. Because right now, I've seen a lot of the community, when it comes to their accounts, they are like putting Miyabi and Yanagi on the same team, or maybe they're doing Astra Nicole on the same team. Those are just two examples. There's others I can use, but I'm just going to use those two examples. So if you were able to pick up Vivian, you can now take Yanagi or Miyabi off of that team and slot in Vivian, and then put the other one on a different team to carry. That way you can power up another one of your teams. Or you can take Nicole or Astra off of one of your teams and put Nicole and Astra on a different team. So Vivian will also allow you to free up some slots to let your other teams thrive. So she's just a very good pickup, in my opinion, if you're an Anomaly fan. If you don't have a lot of Anomaly agents, or just don't like Anomaly, I don't think she's worth picking up at all. When it comes to hyper carry stuff, it seems like Xuan will still be slightly better. I think Vivian could still potentially play hyper carry just because, as long as you buff anything in the game enough, it'll do the job.
Mhm.
But in terms of that, Xuan's the better pickup for a hyper carry in terms of ether. So if you're not a huge Anomaly fan, or you don't have a lot of Anomaly characters, or you don't plan on getting Anomaly characters in the future, then she's probably not for you. But if you do have Anomaly teams, then she's a great pickup.
Amazing. So what about Hugo? Because his gimmick is, what is it called? Totalize?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Is that even like it looked cool. Is it a good gimmick meta-wise?
Hugo it's a gimmick some people will like, some people won't. So
I thought you were gonna say ass. I really thought you were gonna say Hugo's ass.
So basically he ends the stun early. He does by ending the stun early, he does a big nuke. That nuke can either be on his EX special hold or his ultimate. The issue is with Hugo, he doesn't do damage outside of stun.
Okay.
Oh.
He actually does slightly less damage than Ellen outside of stun.
Oh, really?
So you basically need to center the team around getting to the stun window as fast as possible.
So
and then taking advantage of that stun window.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That's why in the showcase they showed you lighter Lycon Hugo double stun.
Oh yeah,
That was
but that
why-
lighter was cracked. Did you see that? That lighter
That was
was
gonna be
doing
my team.
damage.
I was gonna build
Yeah.
that team even before they put it in the showcase because I was gonna call it my double date team. Hugo and Lycon are off doing their thing. I'm with Lighter doing my thing. We're double dating.
Really?
And
Yeah.
so you're telling me, but it actually works for the meta too, for like the play style.
So you can make a very, very strong argument, and it's probably not going to even be an argument, to be quite honest. It's probably just going to be straight up better that double stun teams with Hugo will be his best in slot, whether it's lighter Lycon trigger, lighter trigger, like Chingy trigger, Chingy Lycon, because getting more stun windows means so much more to Hugo than it does any other DPS in the game. Getting one or two more stun windows can be the difference.
Mhm.
That's
And
kind of
if you're playing one stun with him and a support, you're gonna stun significantly slower. Even if you have a really good stunner like Chingy, for example, you're still gonna stun significantly slower. You gotta remember that now that everybody can use their ultimates, having 2 stun agents on your team, that's 2 stun agents doing massive days damage with their ultimates. So you can cycle them. You can cycle in between them for each stun to get stuns extremely fast. Hugo, he quite literally is going to be the character that you're either going to think he's shit or you're going to think he's great, depending on your team setups. And that's just how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting way to go about a character. I don't hate it. I think it's actually very unique and cool, because also when he ends the stun, he gives days. He gives a little bit of the days back.
Yeah.
It's a very unique and interesting thing to do for a character. But it does kind of limit him right now, and I want to emphasize right now, because we don't know what the hell they're going to do when it comes to the 2.x versions of the game, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So they could easily make characters in the future that synergize even more with Hugo, for example. But now you're gonna have to actually really invest into your stun agents.
Yeah.
I used to say,
Oh, don't worry, I haven't.
Yes.
I used to say,
Yes, you have.
yeah. So I'm damn near going on 200 account reviews at this point, and I've said for months now that you can really, if you really need the resources for someone else, you can get away with the bare minimum for your stun agent, as long as they have the impact and as long as they're level 60 and their engine's level 60, you can get away with the bare minimum. With Hugo, I don't know if that's going to be the case, because for stun agents doing non-negligible damage outside of stun might be the difference now in getting a good clear or not. So you might actually need to invest into your stun agents pretty well if you're going to play them with Hugo. Because if your stun agents are built really poorly in terms of sub DPS damage, and they're just getting to the stun. Now you're having to rely everything on Hugo. And if you're Hugo, if he's not hitting hard enough, he ain't hitting hard enough. So
Yeah. That's fair. I can see how that could be a little rough.
And then another issue is he might be reset zone 0. I mean by that is because he has like such a big nuke in his kit, you can go one or two ways, right? You can either go extremely high crit rate and try to make sure you never miss that crit, or you can go the opposite direction and go middle ground crit rate. Now the issue is if you hit that, the good thing is, I should say, if you hit that crit with middle ground crit rate, it's gonna hit so hard, right? Because you're gonna have a lot of extra attack, a lot of extra damage bonus, and a lot of extra crit damage. But if you miss that shit, you gonna have to reset.
That's unfortunate. I'm gonna put Hugo on my team, and I'm gonna Unga Boonga, and I'm gonna be like, his animations look so cool. This team is awesome. That's what I'm gonna do.
And I want to kind of stress on that with the crit stuff and resetting, because for people who've played Genshin before, there's a character called Eula.
Hugo, you spoke my mind. I was legit gonna segue into the other conversation. Go ahead. You do it.
So Eula is my favorite character of all time in Genshin. I still play her to this day. I actually have her C6. That's how much I like her. But Eula is a character where all of her damage is back behind her burst. More than, I think it's like 55% of her damage is in her ultimate. It's one hit. It's not multi-hit. So if you miss the crit, it's GG. It's just GG. It's
you can't even
game,
reset.
It's game fucking over. You got to reset. What I think what's going to be an issue with Hugo when he first comes out is there isn't going to be issues. Now let me explain, because I know that just made no fucking sense. What I mean by that is Hoyoverse always tailors the new in-game modes and Shiyu and Deadly Assault to the newest character on Banner. So when Hugo first comes out, they're going to make sure that he's in the perfect environment. Yeah, they're going to make sure like the matchups are perfect for him. The buffs are perfect for him. So when he comes out, you're not going to feel that weakness anywhere near as bad as it actually would be. The issues with Hugo are going to come up after those buffs leave, after that specific environment for him leaves. That's when you'll start feeling right. And that's when I think people will start realizing, like, okay, this character's like this, right? Like he quite literally, he quite literally cannot do. I cannot stress this enough. He cannot do damage outside of stun. He might be able to do enough to like finish a boss off. I'm not saying he's like trash enough to where if you got the boss down to like 20% of their health, he can't finish it off real quick. I'm not saying that, but if your nuke only did 40-50% of the boss's health, you're going to stun that fucker again, because there's no way in hell he's going to kill that. There's no way in hell he's going to kill that, right? So that's the kind of character Hugo is. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just that depending on the direction they go, and this is why I'm not going to doom post him. I'm not going to say he's going to be bad or good, because 2.0, 2.1, the 2.x versions are coming soon. I genuinely just don't know what they're going to bring in terms of support in the future, because they absolutely could keep bringing characters out that just synergize very well with him, and then these problems that he has on paper are alleviated. Or they could go the route of Eula and just pretend the bitch doesn't exist for 4 years.
They did do that with Eula. They did do that.
I mean, they still pretend she doesn't exist today. So like, I genuinely don't know what Hoyoverse is going to do with Hugo and his playstyle. I would hope that they would keep supporting him in the near future, but I'm not gonna comment on how strong I think he'll be for the future or anything until we get there. And
I think it's safe for them to do it now, knowing that they said that they're willing to change and like rework characters if they're like complete dog ass,
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
I think like they feel a little bit more comfortable experimenting with this type of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what the reception for Hugo will be, and if it's bad, like how they'll actually change him, since they're willing to rework and whatnot.
I have
Mhm.
It's
no
okay.
idea.
He's hot, so I guarantee you that will make up for the fact.
I mean,
he may not be good,
Eula.
but-
I mean, Eula's hot, but us Eula mains are still suffering.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
you're
the
still gonna
Haramasa
suffer,
mains are still
but
going strong.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. All I'm hearing is that Hoyoverse tailored Hugo's kit specifically for me for my team comp, and I have to say thank you, Zenless Zone Zero gods.
And this is going to be hard for me to skip him because I just really like his design. I like his animations, and also I have a lighter. I have a lighter that synergizes perfectly with him. So truth be told, I probably will cave and get one copy of him and his engine. Truth be told, but again, I trust Hoyoverse. I trust that Hugo will age perfectly fine and that he'll be a fine character. But I do think no matter what, he will be very team specific.
Because like the reason, and I kind of want to bounce off of that, is from the meta perspective, you take a look at a character like Juyen, who you would assume is just meant to be with stun characters. But we're now seeing so many people run the classic double ether support comp, and she actually is able to clear so many DA runs very, very comfortably, right? You take a look at Mirrornet right now in DA for as of the current date, and with her and Ching Yi, like it feels hard to get to like 25k, and then you just see so many Nicole, Astra Yao, Juyen runs that hit 40ks easily, and obviously that plays to the gimmick of the Mirrornet. But that's what I'm a little bit afraid of with in regards to trying to pigeonhole Hugo Vlad into these double stun comps, because we don't know the future about stun. And technically we could see it a little bit now with Trigger, as Trigger is one of our first off-field stun characters, and that's associated with Aftershock. Maybe, we could see more down the road. But I'm just very curious, because who's to say we can't just put lighter Asher Yao, right? And then there'll be another huge support down the road where that just, it invalidates the buff of him trying to synergize with said stun characters anyways, right? And that kind of more speaks to just the development macro wise on the game, less so like more specifically like Hugo, although we like to center our world around Hugo. But 2.0 is so stinking close, and of course this is a leak free podcast, but there's so many archetypes down the line that we've already been speculating in, that Hoyoverse and the team have already been alluding to, that we're already going to cover, and even see some of the previous archetypes get overshadowed potentially by said new unit. So I don't want to get too much into the future of it, but it's very curious about the Hugo conversation as far as like where he fits into the meta, because he is so specific. And to that Eula point, right? He's either going to be absolute go-to tier in some situations, and then just absolute twass overall, unless there are other units that are able to bring him up. Because in my experience, characters like this who kind of have to we're kind of a little bit too niche, tend to not have that great of a shelf life in the meta, and specifically the meta.
I think he'll always be perfectly viable. Zenless has done a great job of keeping all their characters viable.
I agree. Yeah.
Whether he'll stay at the tippy top for a long time, I have no. Again, when we get there, right? But I'm just happy again that they did a unique kit like him, and that they're willing to experiment. And I hope that they're willing to experiment with other characters in the future.
Oh yeah.
I think they will. I mean, I think that kind of leans into Yushuin I keep whatever, dude. It doesn't matter.
No, it's okay.
They're
can't change the
experimenting with her.
Yeah.
With like the mystic arts thing. But that is I was gonna say, do we want to talk about 2.0 now? I know I kind of like took it away from 2.0 for a little bit, and then we talk about this. But now, since we're kind of on the tail end,
I mean, we could quickly go through like the events, maybe the ranked bang boo.
Ranked bang boo.
Yes,
I'm on that shit.
Yes, yeah. Great job remembering that. I went crazy when they announced that. I
was like,
told
competitive gaming.
You should join me. I was gonna do a stream where I'm not going to end the stream until I'm at the highest tier. Like, not saying number one in the server, but like if highest is Grandmaster, I'm not ending stream till I reach Grandmaster.
You know what? I'm down.
Let's go.
Here's the thing. Did they announce how they're like distributing points? Because I thought the same thing.
They didn't announce it,
right? Because I was like, oh, why don't we just all four together? We can all just play it together and all just get top rank.
Oh, true.
Right? Yeah. But then I was like, how are they going to distribute points if people are just going to like team and stuff like that?
Yeah. Here's the better question: are they going to do the normal competitive thing where if I'm one elo higher, I can't queue with you?
Oh
am I gonna get elo locked? Where I can
how much RR do I get per game?
How much RR? Yeah.
No, you want to know what's crazy that's going to happen and people are not ready for?
What?
They're going to get matched up with people who are sweating so hard on the Bang Boo ranked.
Me.
They're going to come out.
Yeah, me.
People are literally. You're going to get matched up with people who have Japanese and Chinese names, and they're going to have the most insane movement text, and you're like, how the fuck are you doing this? We only have 2 buttons. How is this possible?
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the fact that whenever there's an actual competitive aspect added to something, that's when people figure out how to cheat. So I'm interested in how are they going to break the game? Not saying we've broken a game for a competitive aspect before Age.
Yeah,
not saying that. We would never do that. We've never broken the rules of a game mode.
I would never abuse mechanics that are in the game to achieve a certain goal. Of course not.
Right. But like hypothetically, if players did do that, how often that will happen and how easy it will be to like counteract. Because like if people find a way to just throw their Bang Boo body across the map, frame 1,
any percent glitchless speedrun.
Yeah,
exactly. You're not really gonna have a good time climbing the ranks.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Are you gonna set up the tournament again, Josh?
I'm gonna try. We're gonna
I'll be
get
there.
together the gang.
We have to lock in.
Yeah,
we need redemption. As
I know. I'm still every time I see that clip of where I was doing so good, and then I just throw myself off the side of the map for what reason? I was so tunnel vision on one tile. I couldn't believe it. Watching that back physically hurts me every single time. One of the chats, the only thing that made it better was one of the chats said I saw Evelyn down there. And that's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
That's why I dived. I saw Evelyn.
Bro, I was streaming one time right before it left, and what 1.5? 1.5, right? Yeah, it was
1.5.
Yeah.
And I was just streaming, and I wasn't even playing with friends. I was like, okay, chat, I'm gonna do a few games by myself before we end stream. And I shit you not, we started. It was the race one. We started, and 7 Bang Boos turned around and all dived at me, and I was like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
You all stream sniped me. I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah,
I didn't have 7.
It was fucking wild.
You
bro.
make a valid point, actually. If I'm going to be streaming me climbing to Grandmaster, am I going to start getting stream sniped in Zenless Bang Boo Fall Guys?
It's honestly easy to stream snipe too because the queues
Yeah,
are not
you
as
got
big as other
stream sniped
games.
so
I got
often in the tournament.
so hard.
they really be your mods.
That's crazy.
And
It
chat.
really do.
Wild, bro. Absolutely wild. Yeah, it's gonna be fun though. Do you think they're gonna add a? I hope is it gonna be permanent? Did they say that?
Yeah.
They said it was going to be permanent.
It's permanent, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I really hope they can be creative. Maybe they can add a new like game because I like the fall booze and I like the racing. But maybe we just need one more and have 3. But I don't know what
I'm sure they're gonna update it because I know there's a lot of. I've never played like actual Fall Guys, but I know there's a lot more like different types of game modes that's in there that they could add. But yeah, I technically it's already permanent. Like it's in Redo Chronicles. Like you can go to it right now. I'm pretty sure. But they're actually bringing back like it might be its own like menu or something that you can access. With the new map system that I want to talk about at some point.
Dude, oh my god, I've been talking about that so much on stream. I'm like, they need to fix this horizontal scrolling bullshit. It was fine when there was like 5 maps, but the moment you get
now
like
I'm throwing my screen.
Yeah. I mean, we can get into that a little bit as well. Like you guys just mentioned, like, you know, having to scroll to go to a specific map, and then what are they going to do to adjust the character menu system? The infinite character menu system.
They said it's going to be a 3D map. So what I want it to be, people have brought up Persona.
Yeah.
Which like that would be cool. I would like that. But they also mentioned the fact that they're like removing the needing to go to the HDD to like get to a mission. So what I think they're going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing I did on stream when I explained in my chat. Boom, map, right? They have all the different locations, and then they have hollows. And if it's like a mission, then you click on the hollow, and then it'll like go into the hollow and show all the missions that are within that hollow. But otherwise, it'll have all the actual locations like just mapped out.
Okay.
So you just open up the big ass map, and then you just click on each location.
Yeah.
It won't necessarily have to be like a list thing within the 3D map, but I do hope that it's navigatable. I want to be able to zoom in, zoom out. I want to be able to drag. I want to be able to drag around. Like if it's a 3D map, let me map out Eridu. Like let me map this entire thing out. Let me actually show where the hollows are. Because if it's like a map in the lore teaser but 3D, like I think that's peak.
Oh yeah, this is great for the audio only listeners.
Yeah. Audio listeners, I put my hands up and I made like a box and then I pointed in the air.
Just imagine, guys. Imagine.
just imagine me pointing at an imaginary map.
Tony Stark style. But yeah, I think there's so many ways in which we can optimize the menus, even just like the infinite scroll wheel. And then like once you click into the actual character, that fucking long ass single bar. Ew, bro, please change that, man. Like there's a lot of ways we can optimize it without like losing the identity of like how it looks. Cause I think most of us can agree. I think we love the UI and like, you know, it's blend and uniqueness, right? With the world that they've created, but just make it a little easier. Just
optimize it, you know?
Yeah. Like Age said, I liked it until it had 40 different things. Like it worked aesthetically, it looked really nice, but yeah, then it became an issue. And it's funny because in the background you can see the map. Like they might just take away the overlay and then just like implement it into that. Because they show where the hollows are in the map in the background, like as it scrolls, the little scrolling thing in the back. So yeah. Anyway, I'm excited to see what hopefully. Oh, I guess they won't show it in the trailer tomorrow. I feel like the trailer tomorrow is straight up just gonna be like the thing that we got on launch, like you know where it just went through all the different factions. I think it's literally just that. Yep. So I don't think we're gonna see any of like the quality of life or like any of that. It's just straight boom, 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 like marketing. These are the characters you're gonna see. But that does mean we're finally gonna see the models, the actual models of the idols, like the 3D in the flesh idols.
Yeah,
bro. Oh no, when I made my video on the ZZ Dev Talk reaction. When they showed the idols, I paused and I said, "This is the most polarizing group." And then I started the video again. That one sentence started a war in my comments. It started a fucking war. Like, bro, I'm telling you, like, It really seems like people either fucking love the idols or they absolutely hate them. I'm finding
I'm
very
not
few
surprised.
people who are in between. I'm finding very few people in between.
Yeah, and
I'm one of those people. I don't have
Yeah.
any particular feelings about the idols. Like I think like some of the
Yeah.
designs are cool, but like do I love them enough for me to warrant spending my giga simping funds when I get really down atrocious? Probably not.
Yeah, no, I will say, and I've said this to my chat, me personally, I don't really like, I'm not fiending for the idols, but I'm really excited to see, like, what the community reaction is going to be to the idols finally being shown. Not even, like, as a unit, maybe, but knowing what they had planned originally for their launch, which is literally making, like, an idol group. So whatever marketing they're gonna have around them, like it's gonna get a lot of eyes on the game. So whether they do it well or they do it ass is gonna impact people's already poorly perceived view on Zenless in some areas. But yeah, I mean I'm excited nonetheless. I mean I think season 2 is exciting because they kind of said that they're using season 2 as a buffer from just urban, which like is going to be kind of odd but interesting to see because obviously I love the urban aesthetic, but that's where like the whole mystic arts thing isn't urban, right? And so they're like they said in the, I think it was the Xbox thing chat where they said that they were going to using season 2 as kind of like the weird mystical thing of like ether and hollows is going to like mix with the urban style in season 2. But obviously we're still getting the regular, the rest of the obols, which they're going to be grounded in more like, you know, our casual stuff. I want to see
so
Seed.
excited to see them.
I want to
Holy
see
crap.
Seed so bad because along with the furries, animals, whatever, dude, more robots. Give me more androids. Seed is an intelligent construct. Is he big? Is he big buff boy? Or is he just like another Billy snatched waist? Like what are we looking at in this robot department here?
Ooh, see his robot? Yeah. According to the canon lore. Yeah.
Seed is an intelligent construct, as mentioned by Soldier 11.
Mm-hmm.
And then also one of the idols I think is also an intelligent. They look like a robot. I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
yes,
one of them.
sorry.
I think that character actually their design looks pretty sick.
I think the gimmick behind them is really cool because they're the android that like have a hologram to make them look human on stage. Like, and that's not leaks, by the way. That was said by the dev team in the concept art. But yeah, so I think it'd be interesting if she's like a gameplay wise, if she's a stance switcher. Like she has different stuff depending on if she's in robot form or like in the holographic like human form.
Yeah.
But yeah, you are correct. It's cool.
So we have Obols, we have Angels of the Delusion, we have the Yunkui Summit. Any potential other factions we want to see return or potential new ideas for factions that they might cover tomorrow? Kind of like a, you know, throw your predictions out there.
So in the Xbox, and Sitting Crowd literally just called it, but in the Xbox live stream, they actually re-teased a Bang Boo from the beta.
Yep.
Starter Boo. A Starter Boo is like a racing Bang Boo. He has like the checkered flags and stuff. So we already have the Outer Ring as like the motorbike gang. So if we get like a racing, like just a straight up racing
Formula
faction,
Formula One.
yeah, I think that would kind of be really sick. So yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh. And they've also like teased how they do have like vehicles, and even Bang Boos themselves can, you know, like drive the vehicles, obviously, from some of the previous events and things like that. So, dude, that would be so fun.
Yeah, because season 2 doesn't. Sorry, go.
Oh no, I was gonna say that I was just getting ahead of myself, but it's like if they do introduce a racing faction, then it's like, what if we get an actual like Mario Kart-esque game mode
with the Bang Boos?
Race with the Bang Boos, it'd be
yes!
so cool. It'd be
oh
so
my
cool.
god, cooking! Yes, I'd love that. I would love that. Because I know like a racing faction doesn't really seem like it would fit with, I guess, the aesthetic of season 2. But like neither does Obel Squads and the Idols, right? Like
No.
I don't want to just say don't like pigeonhole the idea that season 2 is going to be just this
Only
the Chinese
Yunkui
area. It's not just the Yunkui Summit. Because the Yunkui Summit or more specifically the Waifei Peninsula is inside the Throne Quarter. It's not the entirety of the Throne Quarter. So now that we're finally going to the Throne Quarter, we could see other areas within that.
Yeah.
Which is where Jane is from, actually. Because on the back of her badge, it said that she was from the Throne Quarter. So that's going to be interesting if we might see a little bit of some Jane backstory, or see her eating junk food in her apartment that she apparently likes to do canonically.
Yeah.
You know, that's so based of her though.
Real,
She's
I know.
us for real.
I'm real, yeah.
I know, because they said that it was very interesting. Season 2, they want to focus on deepening the interactions between the characters, which is one of the like I've mentioned it on the podcast multiple times. That's one of my favorite things about Zenless is the character interactions. And they specifically mentioned that they don't want to leave any of the old factions behind. Like they'll find ways, which is very easy with PubSec, because Jane is from the Throne Quarter. Qingyi goes to Waifei Heights all the time for the porcelain parts because she's made out of porcelain, which is that porcelain is mined in the aerospace city, which is inside of the peninsula, inside the Waifei Peninsula. So they can bring them there. Chat had ideas. Bella Ball could have a construction project there. Like they could bring them in that way. Obviously, Nicole has connections in the Waifei Peninsula, because why would she not? It's Nicole. So she'll have some sort of odd job that's there, and we'll see them show up. But Miyabi Estate Home. Yeah, I forgot. Apparently Miyabi's there too. Maybe we can actually meet Sorichiro, Miyabi's dad.
Oh. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to them furthering like character interactions, because again, one of my favorite parts as well has been seeing the different characters interact, even between factions. Because I really do feel like it's so rare sometimes to see characters from different like regions or factions actually having that connection. And even just having them interact here and there really just makes it feel so much more realistic. And then, like you said, the Throne Quarter is probably very big too, right? Because even in season 1, like I would say the region and the part that is like the most outlier would probably be the Outer Ring. Like the Outer Ring aesthetic is the most different from the rest of New Eridu, like the main city. So definitely they could, you know, probably expand the map very much so, especially because they said that the main map for the Yunkui Summit is going to be a lot bigger than the map that we currently have. So I'm assuming we're going to spend like some time there, and then like they'll gradually kind of expand like different areas, and then different like go to different places too, kind of like we go to the Outer Ring now and then, because just like the idea of how travel is so kind of easily accessible in the Zenless Zone Zero world, with both like the subway systems and then also just using vehicles like the Sons of Caledon do all the time to visit us. So yeah, I really hope that they do continue with those types of interactions, which they said they are going to do. And they also said that they were going to try to, like, for the special episodes, make the special episodes more Phaethon focused, right? So rather than doing like individual like faction ones. Like, that's
I don't
what
really
I heard
know
them say.
what that means, because they didn't necessarily say Phaethon oriented, but they did say it was going to be more interlinked in the main story. So you could definitely see that as it's going to be tied more to Phaethon. But I did really like, and I've called this out before, I really liked the fact that the Phaethon wasn't involved. So I would like it if they kind of kept it where Phaethon wasn't involved, but whatever they were doing was directly tied to literally like Anby, right? Like Anby's agent mission, but as a special story. Because that was obviously directly tied in with the main story. So
I mean, Yanagi's too,
also,
in a sense, right? Because like Yanagi and like the guy who was like hacking actually works for what's the lady's name, and that's how they were able to get the blueprint or the whatever print of Miyabi's to be able to unlock the sword, right, from 1.4. So
yeah, but it still did kind of feel a bit more like a separate Section 6 story.
Yeah.
Even though it did have the connection, because even like Jane's stories also kind of had like a connection to the main story as well, right? But less so with Phaethon's involvement. Because I was also thinking that, kind of like how Az said, I think that what they meant by that might be they're going to turn the special episodes into maybe more kind of interlude stories involving Phaethon for like the main story, and then use these special like agent stories and turn the agent stories more into, basically turning stuff like Jane Doe's special episode and Section 6's special episode into maybe side stories involving the characters specifically. And basically just kind of upping their game for the agent stories is my hope. Because, I also really liked the fact that we got to see the different factions interact without Phaethon, because I think it adds a lot to the character development and, again, realism, because Phaethon's not going to be involved in every single thing. Like, one of the things that I do find that takes me out of a lot of games is when they try to shove the protagonists into situations where it's like, honestly, the situation could have been fine even without the protagonist. So I hope they don't like completely just try to tie everything into Phaethon specifically, and that they still are willing to kind of take a step back and allow the characters to interact as their own person with other people involved with their specific stories. So but I do think 1.6 kind of sets a pretty good precedence for that with NB's story specifically, and how it had direct relations to the main story of the patch. So I think that could be like one of the ways that they're starting to try to like implement it and like test it to see how like players like it and whether or not that's something that is working for them, which I do think it is. So I really hope that they keep it up.
I think will be interesting is I actually I don't know if the special episodes like you have to play them to continue the main story. If it's you know what I mean, how that whatever. Do you? Okay, I was gonna say because
so, but don't quote me on that.
They kind of mentioned like the whole like fatigue thing. I'm wondering if they start making it where like all of these missions are kind of more implemented in the main story, that means you have to do all of these missions, which could add on to like the fatigue, you know what I mean? So I'm interested in how they're going to still add all of that and implement it in a way where you don't feel overwhelmed, like with the main story.
Yeah.
Like, I think the fatigue was, like, when I saw it, I assumed it was more referring to the events, because I know one of the complaints that some people have is that they feel like because there's constantly so many events and then you have to do them at specific times, it's like you're constantly having to play Zenless and then like finish everything, otherwise you're going to miss out on stuff. Like, even I, like, as someone who mains Zenless, there have been some events that I've just been unable to finish because I ran out of time or I forgot that it ended before it ended. So I don't know like where I heard this, but someone brought up the idea of how maybe like one of the ways that would be nice if they implemented it in that front was if they made the events basically last the entire patch. So you have basically access to everything at once rather than kind of time gating specific things. So then people can kind of play it at their own pace. If they want to finish it all at once, they can finish it all at once. If they don't want to finish it all at once, they can take their time, rather than feeling like they have to constantly come back to the game to finish specific things at specific moments. And then when you're like constantly being dragged into that kind of cycle, it makes the fatigue, right? The fatigue will hit on top of having to play the stories and stuff. Because they did also mention that they're going to try to do main story every single patch, I think. Did I hear that correctly, or am I tripping? Because I think they mentioned
I've heard people say that. I'm kind of worried if that's the case. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like them having like the kind of in-betweens to write better main stories. Because I don't want to run into like an issue where the main story's quality starts to drop just because they're having to feel pressure to like push it out every single time.
Yeah. Because like, you know, the 0.0 to 0.4 patch generally revolves around like the main story. And then you kind of get the 0.5 to 0.7 where it's like, you know, tail end, extra like, you know, stories and, you know, maybe lead ups to the next story. So in the sense where like, oh yeah, a lot of people were complaining, oh, 1.7 is a filler patch. I think it's actually, you know, technically it counts as filler. I would have to agree, but I think it's done in a very, very tasteful and a digestible way where we're not like being pushed all this information at once. Well, I mean, technically with all the lore around, you know, Hugo and Lycon and now getting to the sacrifices and Exaltus. It's setting up for a lot of stuff for 2.0, but you know, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, hopefully that, you know, I put my 2 cents into that. But on the topic of what we'd like to see in 2.x in general, do we have any like kind of outline theories or really just like out there ideas of like, hey, if they brought this in, if they brought in this faction, if they brought in this really, really cool mechanic, if they brought in like this quality of life or event, that it would like be really, really sick for the game? Do we have any thoughts?
My biggest thing is was the ZZ Dev talk when they were specifically talking about having characters feel like they're still doing something even if they're not the active agent, and going more into that direction.
Combat.
And that made a lot of people in my community go, oh, that just means more Aftershock stuff, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that.
Yeah,
I want people to.
That's what they meant.
I want people to be careful if they think that, because Hoyoverse can quite literally just make a character that does the exact same, like similar style of play as like an Aftershock unit, like Trigger, for example, in Pulchra, but then just come up with a bullshit name and say, oh, but this is a different damage type, so they don't work together. So I want people to be careful with that. They can absolutely do that, and they have done that in the past. But that does not guarantee that it's going to be Aftershock. But I am curious to see what they did mean by that, because
the way that I took it, the way that I took it was the fact that they mentioned it after kind of testing a version of that in 1.6. In the main story, we had Vivian on field, just attacking alongside us. So I think it's going to be more of like that type of thing, where like they get to stay on field and then continue doing just like basics or something. Or maybe they could, maybe they could come in and like parry an attack on their own or something. But I don't think it's going to be, like you said, Aftershocks. Like, I don't think it's going to be that type of mechanic. I think it'll just literally be them staying on field and kind of doing their own thing for a little bit.
Yeah, I thought it was mostly going to be a visual thing to just make players feel like they're involved rather than just completely yeeted when you swap the active character. To make it feel more like it's a team environment, I guess. I was thinking, like kind of like how Astra and, Trigger obviously will like stay on field to help attack, but not with like the skill specifically, more just with the character themselves.
For me, running with like Az's kind of, points on that though, right? Having that, example Vivian character like attacking on the side, we can go from that to something that has been really teased and something that I know a lot of chat would be excited about: co-op. So them testing out like NPC units working in function, them trying to, see and test like how that would work if you were to pair with an NPC. Then what happens if you pair a player with the player to go up against certain content?
What's also interesting, what's interesting too, to add on to that, they gave Evelyn a gear in the Lost Void that lets her parry on her own. Like she doesn't have to be swapped to parry. She can just parry while she's on field. Which, why do we not have that already? I know that kind of makes like you kind of push yourself to stay with one character on the team, but I would like to parry without swapping characters sometimes. So that would be sick. And if I don't remember how if it was in the co-op mode when I played it in the beta, but because in the co-op mode in the beta, it was literally everyone chose one person and you were all just running around like little gremlins. But I don't remember if you could parry or not. Like if you can solo parry in the co-op thing, then that would be sick.
No, you couldn't. Not back then.
You couldn't? Okay. Well, then they need to add it.
So I do agree. I think if they did do co-op, then that Evelyn thing was absolutely an experiment to see what it would be like if someone could parry on their own. Because imagine you're imagine they make co-op and it's like a raid boss you need to go fight. Let's say it's like a beefed up bringer with different moves and he's a lot more deadly and it's a co-op like raid boss. I go, let's say it's me, Age, and Josh. I say, guys, I'll take one for the team. I'll be the tank. I'm a pick Ben. I'm going in, right? Can you imagine if I couldn't protect myself with a parry? I'm over here getting my ass whooped. I'm over here getting my ass whooped and like, Age, kill it.
It would look cool too. Yeah, like if you're doing co-op and you manage to parry, but your friend didn't, and you see them tumble backwards, like it would be good. Yeah, it would be good.
I would be in the fucking corner, and I'm like, Age, kill this motherfucker! Kill this motherfucker!
I'm attacking.
So yeah, that would absolutely be nice.
Yeah. These two up here.
What's the question again? Sorry.
Oh my god! Yeah,
what
I
were
just
some
completely...
more like outlier stuff or like your own ideas to bring into 2.x that you think would be beneficial for the game just in general?
I don't really have anything mechanically, but I think it'd be cool if they do the opposite of the arcade and have like a board game place. Have like card games and board games. That way they could still add more kind of like online. Exactly. Give me Zenless chess, bro. Let me do online chess. We can do chess tournaments.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it would be cool since it's more like I don't know. I don't. What I was about to say didn't make sense, but whatever. I you know what I mean. more different styles of what, because instead of having like a coffee place, we have a tea place.
Yep.
In the new area.
I think
so
it'd be
cool if they it'd be cool if they have it's arcade parallel in the new place.
Instead of a noodle place, we're gonna have a rice place.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of new mechanics, I also didn't really have any, and I am mostly just looking forward to the story and the characters and stuff. But one thing that they did mention that I was pretty interested in is that they said that they were gonna try to make the maps also kind of have enemies, like the overworld map. They wanted to kind of meld the experience of the like in Hollow fights and the overworld maps as well. So I'm very curious how they're going to do that. Like in my head, it's like I would think of Star Rail because you have like maps and then you have sections that have monsters kind of in that sense. So that's like my illusion to how they might try to implement it in that manner. But I just want to see like what exactly they mean by that.
No, I think
I'm
you kind of
interested in
painted
that
it
too.
Yeah. No, go ahead, S. Yeah.
Whenever I read it, I didn't necessarily go to the Star Rail. I actually went to the smaller open world sections in HI3, like of I don't remember what it was called, but the Sakura one, where it was just kind of like there was just enemies littered around that you could just run into. But I am curious how they're gonna. Is it just still when we're in the overworld we can swap to like. You know how we can walk around with any character that we have? Is it like that? And then we still like, is it a full team thing? Or is it just whoever the active person you're walking as is the one who combats? Or like, I'm curious to see how they fully implement that. Because that will be interesting. I'm assuming the only place that is happening in, by the way, is the Aerospace City. Because that's the one that's in the Hollow. Because I can't imagine they would just have like, I don't know, people enemies within Wayfowl Heights. So
for me, coming at it from like the developer's perspective, I would like for people to, I don't want to be like doomer, but like I think people should temper their expectations on like what they would like idealize to be a blend of that, just regular area and then the combat area. I think they're going to make it such that like you just walk into the next area and then like, you got a nice little flash screen and then like it transitions to the combat area versus like, you loading up HDD, you putting in your units and you going. So, I think we're going to have to, temper expectations a little bit because like, I think we could run so far with that. I think, there's so many cool ideas on how to blend the civilian areas or whatever with combat. I think for sure. Yeah.
I think they're just going to do it like Star Rail, in which they have maps that are just safe, and then they have maps that have monsters.
Yeah.
So
it'll be.
You still have like the civilian cities and stuff, but then you'll maybe go off to the side. So like you said, rather than going into the HDD, rather than going like into the hollow after like a whole ordeal. You just are able to like walk to the edge of the street, maybe that enters to like the next section that has monsters in it, and then you just go to the section and then you do your fights.
However they implement it, I trust them. They have yet to show me a reason to not trust what they're cooking, whatever it is.
In the CN dev, they said they were going to try to tinker with some abilities, energy bar and energy bar manipulation, because we have characters that are going to, go hyper stun, right? We have Hugo Vlad who wants double stun, and a new character that is going to bring a new type of sub attribute anomaly in Vivian with the bloom. So maybe I can kind of, ask Kate about this a little bit. What are your thoughts on like how characters could manipulate EX bars different than what we have already?
Different than what we already have right now.
Yeah.
So you mean like, give me an example. You mean like Bernice, for example?
Like, exactly. I think Bernice is a great example, or like one of our realistically only examples of like, utilizing different varying, points in the bar to perform like different abilities, as well as, certain thresholds, being able to activate certain things and whatnot. So I'm very curious as to like, how could they adjust, or like, are there abilities that they can do, or just like, let's say a regular special or EX special that would, or maybe in a stance switch, or like chains, basic extra core abilities, synergies and stuff like that could, change up the game, because EX bar is just like, oh, you do attacks and you do things, you build up to the bar and you use the special or use the EX special. So yeah.
I want to see more. I want to see more characters like Evelyn. Evelyn, for people who don't know, even if you don't have energy, you can use her special, and it acts as a dodge counter if you time it correctly, and it gives her significantly more of her meter than a normal dodge counter.
Yeah,
I want characters to have more meaning in their normal special attacks. Like the vast majority of characters' special attack, if they don't have energy, their regular special attack is kind of useless.
There's literally no reason to use it at all. Like it just shouldn't exist.
I want to say 90% of the cast normal special is complete garbage. So I would really like it for them to find ways to make characters' normal special attack, even if they don't have energy, have a purpose. Kind of like Evelyn, kind of like Sambi.
Yeah.
And I think that would help a lot in terms of the gameplay, because now you're adding that one extra layer of the gameplay. Because like for Evelyn, for example, that could be the difference in getting an extra chain attack or not in the stun, doing her normal regular special into a perfect iframe dodge, because that gives you significantly more meter. That could literally be the difference in getting one extra chain attack or not.
Yeah.
And I really like that. So I hope they do that, to be honest. Make the regular special attacks more meaningful, because back when I was still working for Hoyoverse and I was in the content creator program for Chingy, I just remember I was making my guide and I was like, okay, I guess I'll talk about a regular special attack. Yeah, it's fucking useless.
Yeah,
don't.
What does it do?
It's a heavy attack. It gets you in the chain, guys.
It's completely fucking useless. Like, don't use it. It's so bad. So, like, yeah, I hope they do that, to be quite honest.
I do like the idea of them doing more of interweaving skills with being able to dodge or parry, like Yanagi with the parry or Evelyn with the being able to dodge and time it right. Because it gives you a reason to, like, actually time your skills, and you get benefit for it. Like, yeah, do that more.
Yeah.
Skill expression. Crazy.
That's it. Yeah. And kind of to, bounce off of that exact point of like specials not being that relevant with like 80%, 90% of the cast. I had this conversation with my chat earlier. Stun characters, bro, their chain attacks, they need something, man. They need something. Chain attacks with stun characters save actually dog water, useless. Oh my goodness. I was like, yo, give triggers the ability to gain like 50 sniper stance points. I forgot what are those points called? So, you know,
armor piercing rounds or something.
Yeah, something like that. The meter, just like have her the ability to like once you use the chain, gain 50 points of the meter or something like some light purge. There we go, purge. Thank you, chat. So gain 50 purge. All right, some light work. Doesn't need to be crazy, but like that would allow for you know an actual use. Contrary to what a lot of the stun characters have with their chains and their ultimates, which is like it doesn't contribute too much.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, couldn't they just also like just over the board make it where like if you use a chain attack, then maybe it puts a stack on the enemy so that when they recover, then they get more days the next time, right? Because like yeah, I mean, you do make a valid point. I never really thought about that, but like the chain attack, they're already stunned. So you're not really getting any of the stun from the stun chain attack.
Exactly.
And you're definitely not building them for damage. So yeah, that I literally never thought about that.
You use stunners chain attacks if they have swing jazz on. That's about it. Sometimes if you're running like very specific teams like Miyabi Mono Ice with Lycon Sokaku, a Lycan chain attack could be the difference between getting the freeze when you need it at that certain point.
Right.
It's very specific, but like I agree. Like most of the time, the stuns chain attacks aren't that great, but they do have their uses sometimes. Is that like they're completely useless? But they do have their uses sometimes. But I agree.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they're not that great.
Yeah.
Because someone said Chingy also gains resources on her chain attack, so it's like even if you can't necessarily up the stun bar, then maybe if you give the character some bonus so that when the guy's finished stunning, you can use like skills again, and so then that can help with the days later.
Stun Agents got one of the biggest buffs from the ultimate change. I think Anomaly Agents got the biggest buff from
also,
it.
To all the follows, hey, thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it.
So they get just spam.
I'll say hi to you guys in a little bit after post podcast. Hopefully, you guys enjoy. Welcome in, folks. It's great to meet you guys. If you guys love Zenless Zone Zero, I'd
being
love
able to
chat more with you guys.
Contribute that much days that quickly, just from an ultimate, helps a lot.
Yeah, having them actually add the ult change did feel nice. I was like skeptical when I heard that they were going to do that at first, but it does legitimately feel really good to combo the ults together. So it's nice that they changed that.
But okay, well, we didn't have a mini game today just because there was so much stuff ZZZ oriented that we wanted to talk about. That is going to wrap up today's Proxy Podcast. There's just so much more to talk about, especially with the new trailers and the new information, more dev talks and such to come. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the conversations today. Thank you guys so much for listening, and let's introduce ourselves really quickly. First, with our special guest, Kate. Thank you so much for coming onto the stream, man.
Hey man, appreciate you. I appreciate you having me, man. Like I said, I finally got to do the one intro where I'm the guest today. I've always been the host for any collab I've ever done. I've always been the host, and I finally get to say I'm your guest today. So I appreciate it, man. It was nice to be here. Now we gotta get Age on losing the 50.
There you go.
Because now we've had Josh.
Oh, I do that a lot.
Josh.
The name is
we've
very
had Josh on losing the 50. We've had Azriel on losing the 50. Now we gotta get Age on losing the 50. Then we'll have all
I'd
y'all.
love to.
And then we need to. We talked about it, Josh. We need to, for 2.0, get the losing the 50 host and you guys just make one big ass podcast. And we'll be good to go there, man. But hey, appreciate you for having me on.
Kate, where can we find you, man?
Kate the 7th on YouTube. Make damn near daily videos now, and stream a lot too. People were trying to get me to dual stream Twitch. I feel like I'm gonna eventually be peer pressured into doing it.
Yeah,
it's like every time I stream, I see Chad and they're like, "Why don't you go to Twitch? Why don't you go to Twitch? Why don't you go to Twitch?" And it's like, oh, fine. One day. But yeah, man, it's been good.
There you go. I'll introduce our guest that had a little emergency exit there. Azrael Vanity covers everything from story, from lore, and everything in between. And you guys can find them at Azrael Vanity over on YouTube. They also dual stream, but a majority of their content is live streamed over on YouTube. So make sure you guys go check them out as they are covering everything and all current events. So yeah. And Age.
Yeah, I'm HKK or Ajax, however you wish to pronounce it. I love to play story. I love making crackpot theories as I play stories. I love reacting to things, and I love simping. I love being down bad for my favorite characters. So yeah, you can find me on YouTube and Twitch as well. I usually multi-stream, and I post edited reactions and stuff on YouTube. And sometimes, once in a blue moon, some singing covers as well. Some parody covers too. So yeah, that's all.
There you go. And to come back to me, it's your host with the most. It's your boy Josh. We do a bunch of variety Zenless Zone Zero content from the podcast, from guides, from random just video essay stuff. I don't know. Crackpot theory stuff, anything to be honest. But you guys can catch us all on our platforms over on YouTube. Check us out on Twitter. And of course, if you guys are listening to the podcast over on Spotify or any of our audio only platforms, make sure to rate us 5 stars. All right, folks. All right, you guys better rate us 5 stars, okay? Or else I'm going to come out of the screen. Well, technically I'm not on the screen, but I'm going to come out of the screen, okay? And I'll give you a nice crisp high five. So make sure you guys rate us 5 stars. All right, folks. And that will conclude Proxy Podcast episode 7. Everybody give your best NPC wave. I know Kate can't wave, but I mean, Sniffer
Okay,
Boo's
Bang
there.
Boo. Bang Boo.
Yeah, Sniffer Boo's over there.
For you.
Yeah.
He'll sniff you, bud.
Oh. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.